And it is Wednesday, guys. Welcome back to Trekyards Mission Briefing, your weekly Wednesday dose of ship goodness. All stations, I guess we've done stations as well, from any place or time or era or canon or non-canon of the big Trek multiverse. We look at it all, guys, and you guys submit as well for us to look at, but sometimes we do go back and look at canon ships. But we've been going a long time now, guys. There's only so many we can look at. But today it's a canon ship. Stuart, what are we looking at today?
It's a cannon ship? It's a ship like full of cannons that you can shoot? It's a warship?
Yes. Yes, it is a canonically canon.
Oh, did you mean cannon with one N or two?
I meant 3 N's.
Oh. I don't know what that means. Anyway, yes, we are looking at a cannon ship, 1N, pet peeve of mine. And it is a Vulcan transport ship. This is from Enterprise, of course. And there you have it. There are more details about it. What's the name of the ship again, the class? I forget.
So it's kind of a one-off. It was used a bit later on Enterprise, but it's apparently the VA class. It's a civilian transport that was used by the Renegade Vulcans in Fusion, but I know it was used later on as like a fighter and stuff as well. I mean, obviously you don't use the Vulcan ships once in the Vulcan arc. I think they used all the bells and whistles. It came back. Should I do my first impressions first, Stuart?
Sure.
I really like this model. It's a really weird. Again, I have a lot of experience with these real models and how done by a beautiful team. Pierre Droulet, I think, did this one. Great set of details, great set of non-details, like the simple hull. Yet it's got grime and bumps. Like it's all cleverly made and it lights very beautifully. Interesting model. The Vulcans are a strange aesthetic because obviously the Vulcan shuttle we saw in TMP wasn't actually a Vulcan design as Federation, sort of. And Doug designed the first Vulcan ship, and it was bright red, and they took that back down to darker red, and then all these ships developed that are very similar. This, I think, is the one that breaks the mold the most. So I wanted to cover it, not first, but I guess second out of our Vulcan lineup. It's a cool design, I think. I think that's where I'm going. And a lot of really cool small details that, boy, you just never see in the show that we want to sort of highlight. But yeah, that's my first thoughts. So what do you think, Stuart? And do you remember seeing it in the show, or has it completely left you by, memory-wise?
I don't remember seeing the show. When you said Vulcan transport, I was thinking the ones from Unification, that was in TNG, and the ones those are later again used in Deep Space Nine at some point, I believe, as a Vulcan transport.
Nice.
Yeah, it was with Eddington and the Maquis.
Yes.
But it's a nice ship. It really is, but not for a Vulcan ship. As far as a Vulcan ship goes, it's ugly. First, if you showed me this and didn't tell me what it was, I would be like, well, if I saw a view from the back with the engines, I would know it's a Vulcan ship. But this view here, my first instinct would be Cardassian. Just because of the color. It's very much like similar to Deep Space Nine coloration. And it's got the points coming out the front look very much like the spires on the station. It just has a Cardassian vibe to me. It looks it looks like a manta ray or a sea life creature.
Well, let me double that down. If you were to turn the ship, on the right hand turn, so it's pointing up. Those pieces on each side, they could be the neck of the.
Yeah.
Double down. It's got double elements actually.
Yeah. So that's as far as a Vulcan ship, it's ugly. But it's an interesting model, and it's a fantastic design for like an alien ship. I think that'd be awesome.
I think this is one of those other cases of a transport ship does not have to follow the conventions. I know we've seen a Klingon transport ship looks nothing like a Klingon ship beyond the green. I know we've had other ships. I mean, the Antilles looks a bit more Federation-y from TOS from Mars. If you took out the warp engines, it wouldn't be Federation at all. So I mean, the idea of a transport does bend the what is the standard shapes. You are right, and we'll go to the back view. The engines certainly give it away, and the color palette obviously is the Vulcan color palette. But yeah, not recognizably Vulcan. But then again, what is all we have that Vulcans are is warp ring, and I've never bought that warp ring is like the highest of technology. Like I don't see it as very practical. I think having two warp nacelles is far more advanced, far more streamlined, far more efficient than a warp ring. Like I know obviously
the simple fact that NASA is currently working on a warp style warp ring implies to me that it's primitive technology, because we're currently like experimenting with that and working on that.
Yeah, we can't make a bubble, but we can try and make a sort of thing that sort of makes the bubble, but you know that that's as far as we can push now, whereas it's meant to be the future.
Yeah. You know what they say: if you like it, you should have put a ring on it. So
I agree.
I've heard that somewhere.
I will ask though, because I really like this half ring, the smooth aesthetic. It gives it a great. I've done little animations that I think once before. I think for our Franklin episode, I put it in that episode. The way it moves has a really nice curve to it.
Uh-huh.
If you took away the warp ring of the conventional ships, replace it with this double half ring, so it's kind of like a warp ring, but more advanced, but still like Nacelle. Do you think that would, and if that was the default Vulcan aesthetic, would that be better, do you think, or are you more sold on the warp ring as being their thing?
I love the warp ring being their thing. I think that's unique and something that's, yeah. Yeah. So that's my opinion there.
Okay. I think I'd rather see this as like, I think this would look so cool having those like half rings as a propulsion system. I think it'd be more the Trek aesthetic in terms of two different little things. But that's why I like this ship as a aesthetic, if not a Vulcan one. But a lot of the prequel stuff was kind of odd anyway. But yeah, that was a lot in the first picture, so let's go on to the next picture. And obviously we're very proud. Oh no, it's not going to say no. Stuart, don't look at the next picture. I always forget when it's a real ship. Also, with the real models, we can look at real things like scale and also just canon details. So Stuart, what do you think the scale is of this ship? Because that's important. I've done a nice scale chart with other canonical ships.
Compared to the NX-01, is it being a transport ship? I don't know. Just a little bit shorter than the NX-01. And the NX-01 isn't super long. I mean, maybe 3/4 the length. I don't know. That's my guess.
Stroking evil beard. Well, the next picture is the scale chart, as uses the default scale in Star Trek Enterprise when you load all the models. As you can see, I've got the NX-01, the Klingon D5, the Tholian ship, another Vulcan ship, I believe that's the Vulcan scout ship, and the Vulcan transport, and the shuttle pod to show scale, because that's something you can relate to in terms of real scale. So not big. Not big at all.
No, it's like half the size, yeah.
Although,
bigger than a Tholian ship. Which is interesting.
Well, to be absolutely fair to it, the NX's livable room stops just after the pontoon starts. So it's about 4/5 of the livable room of the NX. So it's obviously a lot less broad, although we'll see that in a minute. But it doesn't need to have the science rooms. I mean, tech is a lot smaller, so less science rooms, probably less room for quarters because they don't need the same amenities. They're not about comfort, so you know, simple rooms and such probably fit a lot more on. But it's interesting that the bridge module is basically the size of a shuttle pod. And that's not a big... I mean, you can fit enough people. It's a pretty functional space, but it's not big by any means.
Yeah.
What do you think about the scale?
It falls in line kind of where I was thinking. It's a little bit smaller than I thought, of course, but... yeah, as far as you said, livable space and whatnot, it definitely has a lot of room for transporting people. Because I mean,
yeah,
you know, you don't have military hardware in there per se, so it's just, yeah, it's fine.
Well, this makes me want to go back and reinvestigate the Tholian, because but the way they showed the Tholian ship Enterprise, they beamed a single crewman off, and they're not a big species, and yet that ship's actually pretty meaty. Compared to a shuttle pod, I mean, there's a lot of internal volume that's not being used, or I guess it is being used, but I'm intrigued by what on Earth the internal volume of a Tholian ship is, you know. But the top view, Stuart, gives another indication, and I've also thrown in the human transport ship, at least the smaller one. I believe that's the J class. Sorry, I don't know off the top of my head. And you can see, you know, broader but less long. The other transport's huge, so I didn't think it was worth including because it's just like it's obviously the big version.
This makes it a lot smaller than it looks from the side for sure. This means, I don't know. It's still a transport, I guess, but I mean, because it holds the same amount as the NX-01 as far as crew can go. Or
100 crew. Yeah, you can fit 100, I think, in that.
Yeah.
If you
like
don't
I said,
need...
the layout would be different because it's kind of have the same equipment and whatnot. Yeah. So.
Well, if you don't need just lots of corridors that go in circles, you just need simple brick corridors and then rooms and then 5 floors of just a corridor, a room, a corridor, a room, boom, and functional areas. You can fit a lot in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's not a big ship. It kind of I love Enterprise scales because they're actually very small. Like, you always think of
Yeah.
like Enterprise D as sort of the standard, but these everyone's actually pretty small. Obviously, think to modern day. I mean, look at the D5, look at the shuttle pod. You can equate those scales to people. It's like, oh, you could walk these ships pretty quickly. These aren't big, you know.
Yeah. I've often thought that actually.
Yeah.
How long would it take to transverse furthest outmost corridor around the
Yeah.
Connie or whatever? Yeah.
I mean, I'm currently bicycling like 2.5 kilometers in like a circle, and that's probably more than the Connie. This ship's maybe the corridor.
Yeah.
You know, all this cargo ship. You know, oh my god, it's on the end cargo. It's like, yeah, that's like a 2.5 minute walk, just to walk down the road. Like, it's just down the road basically. It's like to go to your local, you know, corner store to get a pint of milk. I mean, it's just down there.
Yeah.
You can do it in an advert break. But the next picture is a back view, and yes, this obviously gave it.
Yeah.
This is the distinctly Vulcan. I love that it's integrated like that. I love the detailing. Clearly more detailed than the fact they didn't leave an impression on you. Yeah, all this beautiful detail, the way it's textured, like they always put the effort into these models, and I really, this is one of the best things about this show is that when we do these real ships, we can show the detail of the real ships that you've never really got to see before, you know.
Yeah, and like I said, this back view would have told me it was distinctly Vulcan because it does have that Vulcan aesthetic look, so that's fine. One thing that bothers me with this picture, I don't know if it's just the lighting, but the texturing on this thing looks very wobbly and very organic. It looks like it wasn't textured very well.
I think it's using more procedural textures, which means repeating shapes of like, God, how to explain this? Like cloud effects in a sense. It's like lots of different things, different gradients, so it kind of allows you to texture things oddly. And if you had bump maps, which means I can see it.
Okay,
if you had bump maps, crazy. It makes things a bit more 3D. Yeah, it certainly doesn't look. Yeah, it doesn't have the clean lines. It has a sense of. Yeah, it looks like the Year of Hell Voyager as it was starting to decompose.
Yeah.
Not the Year.
Well, then again, this is a small ship that wasn't seen on screen very long, so it probably got textured very quickly.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But I was actually thinking that before you said that, the front is much more mechanical. This back view, I mean, look at those organic shapes. I mean, I know the Vulcan and other ships are they have some of those angles, but this is very, very.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said with the front view too. It looks like a manta ray almost, but without like its wings are curled up, like it's swimming. It looks very ocean creature like.
Yeah.
So.
I like the back view. I think it's lots of it's a sort of shape and a ship that gives lots of details that what could they be? What is that aft grilling on the back of the back? I don't know. It's there. It fills in the space, but it's just a nice little detail. And I'm guessing. No, we know where the impulse engines are. Don't worry about that. But the next picture answers the question: where are the impulse engines? I really like this grilling. I really like the just
that's
set
cool.
into the back. And they're all lit up with red. I'd really dig that.
Yeah, I think that's a great placement for them. I have nothing else to add to that. That's perfect.
Looks meaty as well. Looks like it's fast. It looks like a fast ship. In both respects, Warp and Impulse.
Is it a fast ship? Is it a fast ship?
Yes.
It made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. Damn right, it's fast.
Damn right. Oh, and look, Stuart, a little Easter egg at the back with the impulse engines. It's got the TOS Romulan symbol.
Ha! It does too. Wow. That's cool, actually, because you think about it. The Romulans and the Vulcans were the same. So if they took these ships to leave Vulcan, the transport ships, the older transport ships, and they adapted that to make it the Romulan symbol for TOS.
Yes, the timelines match up perfectly.
Damn right they do. Next picture. Ooh, that's a cool shot.
Mm-hmm.
I like that from the front. That's very cool. I love that deflector there. I didn't know there was a deflector on this thing.
Yeah, I love the fact it's all headlights.
Yeah,
I mean, that's absolutely headlights.
Yeah. Yeah, that's neat. Again, it's got that very oceanic creature kind of vibe.
Yeah, I think if you upscaled this, cleaned up the textures a bit, made it different color, added more windows, more visibly human or other, this would be a beautiful capital battleship. You know, although it's kind of got a Star Wars element with the wings in this view. Kind of looks like, I guess.
Oh. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, it just has some Star Wars elements.
You could make it such a cool Federation ship. Look at the front view. It looks very much like the Prometheus with that deflector and stuff, right? From the front view.
Yeah.
Texture it to be Federation. Add 4 nacelles, 1 on each of the tips of those. Change some of the shapes a little bit. That'd be a fantastic Federation design for like a future Federation design. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Well, we know you are, but maybe you're just right.
Thanks. Man.
Do you think that... Because again, we hope form follows function, and we always say that, but we hope it does. That if you look at the pincers, lack of a better word, there's at one level inside are those 4 circle zones. There's the disruptors, because I don't think they use phasers. I think you call them particle weapons. They're not disruptors, but particle weapons of some sort. Do you think that's where they emit from, maybe?
So we know this thing has weapons for sure?
Oh yeah, I mean we see it fire in I think the later Enterprise. I mean all these ships have guns in some form. It's only just red beams firing from somewhere of the ship. They don't tend to put much thought into where exactly, but
could be that those are. Yeah, I was thinking those were more like docking clamps or like tractor beam emitters to like lock on to.
That's
maybe
interesting.
Dock there. I'm thinking maybe the white glowing things could be the weapons emitters.
Yeah. On either side of the pincer, right at the front. You mean? Yeah. That too. Yeah. And one thing I know we always say about windows, we can see at the top. I don't know if there's another. Oh, there is another clip on. I'll skip for another close up. But let's go to the next picture. A close up of that deflector. Again, lovely detail. I love how much grime the ship has. Not a new ship. No.
That cutout's nice though. It's reminiscent of the Enterprise E as well.
Or the Excelsior even.
Yeah.
It's nice to see where, because I wouldn't have minded that in Enterprise. Some very subtle artistic elements to say, that's where we got, the Defiant, this part of the Defiant from. It was inspired of an Andorian shape 200 years ago because, as modern designers, they look at history, they look at animals, they look at nature. You go look at planes from 50 years ago to find cool shapes. Why wouldn't Federation designers go back and this is their pick for Excelsior because it worked so well in this random Vulcan cargo ship?
Yeah. Let's go to the next picture. This is detailing on the side. Again, I don't really get a Vulcan vibe from that. I get more of a Cardassian vibe. And it's cool. You can see the escape pods at the top there. Little escape pod shapes. Exactly like the same shapes as on the Enterprise E. There's like 2 of them on this side.
Those windows, though, really interesting because they're inconsistent in the sense that there's some that have 1 out of 3, some that have 2 out of 3, some that have 0 out of 3 filled a window. Maybe there's armor that goes over them. Just close the blast doors or just
maybe the lights are off
airplane.
In that room.
Well, the text string looks like it's just pure. Well, I guess if it's transparent aluminum, you can it's one-way glass, but you can flip it so not visible from the outside. Or it's just an airplane. You just press a button, it all goes just. It just seems kind of strange to have. If those are the window elements, it's a very odd set of window elements that.
Yeah.
Are they even windows? I mean, that would be my guess.
I would think so. Yeah, I can imagine them from the inside. Look like 1 on each side of the room.
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I just love that side profile of the kind of look. If you flipped it again to the top, it looks like if you've seen Chronicles of Riddick, those big head things that go down, those sort of big shapes, a little bit. But the next picture is docking port. That's how it docks with the Enterprise. Just a big old docking bay, but actually a lot of detail for that little bay. And I always love those little touches these modelers put in because this is meant to be a proper, industry standard model that has to look good.
And here you can see there's a lot of weathering, a lot of paint chipping, a lot of impact marks. From little things hitting it. So definitely a weathered and worn ship.
So I just skipped to the next picture. I just fell in love with this picture. It's the bridge module. What do you see? And I'll tell you why I suddenly love this picture.
Well, the one thing that I saw with the first picture, That back element reminds me very much of like a Cylon ship, with the head sticking up or whatever, right?
Well, even just reverse the bridge module. It's now got the outstretched arms like a
Oh,
Cylon.
yeah, you're right. Plus, more escape pods by the looks of it, maybe smaller escape pods.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I see. And the little deflector thing.
The little deflector dish! It's so cute! So small. What, isn't that just the most amazing little feature? Like, just throw in a deflector dish. Why not?
It's just a shield emitter or something.
Maybe. And again, very organic, has pincers. What a, you would never see that. You would never see that in detail. But they put thought in and put it there. I love that.
And it could be based, too, on some kind of Vulcan creature, some kind of sand creature, or even something from one of Vulcan's oceans. Or
from Delta Vega, its moon.
Yeah. Yes, the frozen Delta Vega moon.
So, I said about this earlier, but I want to wait for this picture. We always have not a go at bridge windows. We just think that the Federation aesthetic does not use bridge windows. Therefore, putting them in randomly when 250 years of history has 0, bit of a problem, beyond shuttles, obviously.
Yeah.
Here we have 2, sort of like 6 slice windows, which is intriguing. See, for me, that does not feel like the bridge per se. That feels like the front observation room, and then just behind that is the bridge with the, with the view screen. Thank you. I read your mind. Because I mean, in the Federation starships, you've got that aft conference room for Enterprise D where they have big windows. Why wouldn't you have that at the front?
Yeah. Yeah. Or it could be the captain's ready room, or
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I just feel that's a weird design. Like, even as a window, it's even less useful if you want it as a window, unless you have a view screen in between. But the scale isn't that big, so it would be a weirdly sized view screen.
Yeah. The next picture is a shot of the rear. Here we got some more detailing. You can see the impulse engines a bit better in this one. I do like the way that they're in set like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. Feels advanced.
Yeah. The back end of this thing does feel advanced. I love the nacelles or the warp ring things. I think those look really cool.
Because that's like I said, that's my perfect warp ring. It's not really a ring, but it's an homage to that tech. But it's more advanced. Like, you don't need the ring, you just need the pieces, and they can be that thin and that. Yeah, and if you need, and it's like a line of sight. It creates the ring of power as a line of sight. It just creates a ring of energy rather than having to need to actually have a full ring. Yeah. Again, it's just advanced. I just think it says advanced more than the warp ring itself. Plus, it's cool to like. I bet it's kind of TIE fighters, the TIE Advanced, and it's that shimmering effect.
Well, it's like a Darth Maul's ship.
Yeah,
the same shapes. Yeah.
No, this is very similar to that ship. I'll actually give you that. And again, those we said at the front, I said might have been weapons. It's got those like tube details either side, next to the warp rings. Maybe torpedoes, or impulse, or thrusters. Maybe. I don't know. Strange.
Yeah.
Strange. And the last new pitch is the bottom view. Again, same detailing on the bottom. Great scorch marks, as you said. This would kind of make sense as thrusters to allow it to land, maybe. I love the paneling. I just thought the last picture, is there a cargo hatch anywhere? Don't know. You wouldn't want to use it exclusively beaming.
Well, yeah. I mean, some of those panel lines could be natural doors that come down, oddly shaped, but you never know, right? It could be a loading ramp of some sort. Again, more escape pods on the bottom. Yeah. Escape pods don't hold a lot of people, and there's varying sizes here, so that's interesting on a transport. But it wouldn't be regulation, like military regulation, because it's not a military ship. So they wouldn't have to be all the same size or whatever, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. That is about the first picture, the 3/4. And there you go, the Vulcan transport from Enterprise. I think the Vulcan ships, that's probably the race we got to see the most ships of, that and the Klingons in Enterprise. I don't think they got fleshed out enough, really looked at, despite being, I think it's about 8 different Vulcan designs. So that's a lot of, I think all designed by John Eves, bar the first one designed by Doug Drexler. And I think we'll need to have an evolution of Vulcan ships, because again,
Yeah, for sure.
Is there consistency? Maybe we can talk amongst ourselves. What's the oldest of the designs? Can we see some sort of lineage? Because the warp ring is a feature of them all. Oh, and one last thing. I love that there's little like coat rack spikes either side of the fins. The pincers just little.
Yeah, they're kind of like the pitot. I can't pit. Bleh, the things that planes have that stick out. The pitot tubes or whatever they're called. For getting atmospheric information.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I can spell it. I can't say it.
Okay.
Anyway.
On that amazing, awesome note, thanks guys for watching. My closing thoughts. I like the ship. Weirdly Vulcan, but it's just enough Vulcan to be their design. It's just not a warship. It's just not... It's totally different design profile. Like a Defiant, like a Intrepid, like a Sabre. 3 completely alternate designs. So it works for me. And I don't think you should necessarily be able to recognise every... Again, as you said, I think in this episode specifically, we have sensors, so you don't need to necessarily visually be able to know every single ship in the fleet of an alternate race just by its appearance. You know, there's hundreds of worlds potentially of each, hundreds of contractors building things. You know, the sensor scans enough should be okay. The power signature's Vulcan, the Vulcans are on it, the weapons are Like you don't need to see it as being Vulcan first glance. Again, if you look at the Vulcan shuttle from TMP, doesn't look anything. Doesn't look Federation, doesn't look Vulcan, doesn't look any race specifically. It's just a transport, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, your closing thoughts, Stuart. Have I sold you on it a bit more than when we started?
Yeah. There are definitely Vulcan elements to it. But like I said, at first glance, I wouldn't have thought that. And I think the first thing I said to you was, "Wow, this is an ugly ship." By the way, before we started, it is still ugly, but it's very. It's very organic and flowing, so in a way it's pretty. As long as it's, I don't consider Vulcan though, personally.
Yeah.
Like I said, it would make an awesome alien ship, like a Zindi insectoid ship, because it looks like an insectoid pincer kind of thing.
I think you're right. I think Cardassian's the way to go with this one. If you were, like for example, if you made this the pincer of the Galore and had like a really stout little bit that came out up, and have those extra rings be some extra feature, I think you could really make like a big bulky Galore dreadnought with this. Yeah.
It could be Cardassian galore. Haha, galore. Anyway, you don't know what I mean. Cardassians galore. Never mind. Anyway, so it's an alright ship. So hopefully you guys liked this episode. If you did, click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And
we have a link.
We have a link in the description down there, and it says Patreon. Click that, and you can help us out on a monthly basis. But there's another way to help us out as well.
Obviously, the one-time donation at trekyards.com. Everything helps. Or just share these videos any way you think Trek fans would enjoy it. Or just fans of sci-fi. Again, especially with canon ships, we look at really unique details you can't see anywhere else. And that's what we're here. We're here to document them and also get your feedback and see what the most popular ships do. Full episodes on, further down the line. Talk to the designers. Get all the exclusive information. And be your one-stop shop for all things ship.
That's right. So, until next time, guys, when we will see you whenever we see you, because we have multiple shows. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Collins.
And we'll see you out there somewhere. Yes.